Huge shout out to Unknown for suggesting this video. Go drop them a sub, their link is in the description. And if you want a shout out, just let me know which draft I should redo next. In the last one of these I did very well. So again, let's shoot for 30 likes and 520 subscribers, which huge thank you for 500 subscribers, by the way. We going up. But let me know what you would do differently in this video, respectfully of course, and share this video with a friend that you think might enjoy it. But let's get into the redraft. Hello everyone, it is Brandon the Simp here, and today we are going to be redrafting the 2018 NFL Draft. Now this one's a fun one, because the players from this class are just kind of getting to their prime. We have amazing players like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, clearly Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, true elite passers in this class. But we're going to say, what if every team knew how these players' careers were gonna go for the first 4 years? Would they make the same pick? Would they make a different pick at the same position, or would they go something entirely different? Now, I'm gonna do this based off of their current rosters. I could go back to their rosters at the time, but I don't exactly remember how every single player was playing at the time. Like, they could have had some great players that were at the end of their career that were regressing, and I didn't draft a player there because they had like an older player that was a big name, if that makes any sense. So it'll just be less complicated to do it based off of today's rosters, and I think it'll just be more fun based off of today's current rosters. So without further ado, this number 1 overall pick, this one should be pretty obvious, right? We're going Josh Allen. No, I have to start the draft. We're going Josh Allen. I like how their suggestions are Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield. Okay. But no, we're going Josh Allen. This one's a bit of an iffy one because they have Deshaun Watson on the roster clearly, but you could make the argument, I'm just going to do this for this one pick, that if they would have picked him, they wouldn't have been in the position to have to trade for Deshaun Watson and have to deal with paying him so much money and him not even playing, maybe won't even play great when he gets back because of all the distractions and everything. We'll just have to see. I don't know. And I know I just said we're going to go based off of today's current rosters, and you wouldn't really take Josh Allen if you already had Deshaun Watson, but taking Josh Allen would have avoided that whole situation, so I'm just going to make the exception for this one pick. It just kind of makes sense, you know what I mean? This draft is actually really fun compared to the 2019 class, which I did in the last video. Not that that one wasn't fun, but we didn't have very much variation for the first few picks. But this one, the first two right off the bat are going to be different. For the New York Giants, we're going to be going Quentin Nelson. Now that may be a very obvious one as well. I mean, they need offensive linemen. You have one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL staring you right in the face. Why wouldn't you go with him? But there are arguments to be made. I don't think you go Saquon. I think if you're gonna go running back, you go Nick Chubb. But you could also go Jair Alexander, I thought about. Fred Warner, Vita Vea, even Darius Leonard. Or Shaquille Leonard, I need to get used to that. Hell, even Lamar Jackson if you want to give up on Daniel Jones, who has looked decent lately. I just think if you want a good football team, you have to start with the offensive line. That's kind of my thing. Like, every good team nowadays has a great offensive line, clearly. Because, if you don't have time to throw, you don't have time to throw, if that makes any sense. So Quentin Nelson is the pick, and I think that's the right answer. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if you would go with one of those defensive players or even Nick Chubb, but I think Quentin Nelson is the best pick here. For the Jets pick, it's kind of the same deal here. You could go a number of positions. I think I am going to go with Fred Warner. I just think linebacker is kind of a need for you. I think it's a very not valuable position, but Fred Warner is a player that kind of makes it valuable, if that makes any sense, because he is really good. Now again, kind of the same deal. You could go Jair Alexander, but you already have DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Bryce Hall. You're good at corner. I could have gone Derwin James, which I thought about, but Fred Warner just makes the most sense at the spot, and I think that's a good pick. And I guess he goes from the 49ers, where Robert Saleh was, and now the Jets, where he is, So Fred Warner's the pick. These have been some tough ones so far, though. And for the Browns, I don't I'm actually not going to take Jair here. I'm going to go Denzel Ward. I mean, there's no reason to really switch it up. He's been very good for them. So, I mean, it's between good corner and good corner that's already on your team. Why not just go good corner that's already on your team? I mean, I guess Jair might be a little better, but Denzel Ward is healthier more of the time, so we're just gonna go with him. So Denzel Ward, I believe, was the correct pick, even though it's a different situation, but you know what I mean. For the Denver Broncos, I'm gonna do something controversial, maybe. Well, here's their problem. They got a lot of their players from this draft, like Cortland Sutton, Josie Jewell, Bradley Chubb. I guess that's not a lot, but those are some good players for them. The problem is, though, in all those positions where they're losing players, there isn't a very good replacement, if that makes any sense. Like, for receiver, I guess you could take like DJ Moore or get Cortland Sutton back, but I don't think either of them are worth a top 5 pick. You could get, I guess, Harold Landry, but he's not really worth a top 5 pick. Or I guess you could take Darius Leonard, maybe. That might not be the worst, but I don't know. I am gonna go Vita Vea. He has been a monster for the Buccaneers. They really need defensive line. I mean, they have DJ Jones, who I like, but they have Draymond Jones, who hasn't really worked out. I really liked him going into the 2019 draft or whenever that was, but hasn't really panned out. Deshaun Williams is They don't really have a great defensive tackle or interior defensive lineman. So Vita Vea is going to be the pick for the Broncos. Up next is the Indianapolis Colts. Now, they kind of have the same deal as the Broncos, where a lot of their team is from this draft. Matt Pryor, Quentin Nelson, who's already gone, Braden Smith, Mo Alley Cox, I think Nyheim Hines, Tyquan Lewis, Zaire Franklin, Darius or Shaquille Leonard. Like, that's actually a lot. But I'm gonna do something, again, maybe weird here. That offensive line is gonna be so bad if they do not go with a lineman. So I think I am just gonna let them stick with Braden Smith. He's been a very good right tackle, a very underrated right tackle for them. And if they don't get him, their starting lineup will be Bernard Raymond, which fair enough, I guess, Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, Danny Pinter, and Dennis Kelly. I don't know about that one. It's still not going to be great, but at least it'll be a little better with Braden Smith. You could go a number of directions here too, like you could go for Darius Leonard, obviously, but I just think tackle's more valuable than linebacker, obviously. So Braden Smith is going to be the pick. Something I actually didn't even think of is you could have gone Lamar there. I forgot I had Lamar on the board. Yeah, that's fine. Up next is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers don't have many players from this class from what I can see. I see Vita Vea. Just going off the top of my head, I also see Mike Edwards might be from this. No, he's not. Carlton Davis is, and that's really it, I think, at least for like important players. Because I believe Raheem Nunez-Rochette, I don't know. Just for the important players, that's like it. Oh, and I think Russell Gage maybe. Russell Gage might be from this class. But I think I'm just simply gonna go best player available, that being Mark Andrews. He's been the best tight end in the NFL this year. I think by the end of the year, he will be considered the best tight end in the NFL, assuming, of course, he stays healthy and everything like that. I think he is a stud and definitely worth a top 10 pick. Probably higher, but that's just kind of how the board fell for me. The Bears are another kind of a tough one because they need like literally everything. I mean, literally you could go almost anything. You could make an argument to go Lamar, DJ Moore, Dallas Goddard, Colton Miller, Frank Ragnow, Brian O'Neill, Marcus Davenport, Daron Payne, Darius Leonard, Roquan Smith, Harold Landry, Jair Alexander, JC Jackson, Jesse Bates, Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James. Like, you could go literally any of those and it would make sense. I'm just finally gonna take Jair Alexander. I mean, you just kind of go best player available at this point. Corner's a pretty important position, clearly. You just need anything at this point if you're the Bears. For the 49ers, I'm thinking about doing something. I don't know. The 49ers actually lose quite a bit from this class. They lose Mike McGlinchey, Jeff Wilson, I guess, Kamoko Toure, I think, Fred Warner, obviously, Emmanuel Mosley, Charvarius Ward. Like, they're losing a lot of players here. I think here we are going to go back-to-back corners. Damn, it's actually kind of a strong corner class down here. Avonte Maddox, Darius Phillips has been decent. Levi Wallace, obviously JC Jackson, DJ Reed. Like, this is a decent group of players, but clearly we're gonna go JC Jackson. Has been a very good interception getter at corner, but unlike Trayvon Diggs, he can also cover. I don't know why Trayvon Diggs is catching strays, I'm sorry, but yeah, JC Jackson, good corner cover, great ball hawk. I think he is worth a top 10 pick for the Niners, especially losing Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley, which, by the way, Charvarius Ward is a very underrated corner. So JC Jackson will be a great replacement. Now, this is where I'm gonna do something interesting. We're gonna go Lamar for the Raiders. I feel like Lamar needs to go top 10. This is kind of the one that makes the most sense. There have been rumors of Derek Carr being traded for years now. I just feel like they're too scared to trade him away because they don't know what they would do without him. But this will finally give them an excuse to do that. Derek Carr has been very bad this season, and has kind of been the reason they've been losing, which is weird considering, you know, he gets his former college teammate and like best friend and best receiver in the NFL in Devontae Adams. So I don't know what's happening there. We're just gonna move on from Derek Carr. I feel like some Raiders fans still really like Derek Carr for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not too big of a fan. We're gonna give them Lamar. For the Miami Dolphins, I think I am going to go Frank Ragnow. They would be losing Connor Williams from this draft. I believe they would also be losing Mike Gesicki, maybe Cedric Wilson, I think he was from this class, Zach Sealer, Jerome Baker. They're not losing as much as other teams, but they're still losing a lot of pieces, and I feel like you can't let that offensive line go back to being terrible. It isn't amazing this year by any means, but it is much better than last year's. So we're going to be giving them Frank Ragnow to replace Connor Williams. Frank Ragnow's been one of the better centers in the NFL, arguably the best, or at least like top 3 for the Detroit Lions. Unfortunately stuck on, well, that's not fair to say. The Lions are decent this year. And I think Dan Campbell is arguably the best head coach in the NFL. Don't at me. I feel like that's a weird opinion, but he is very good. So yeah, Frank Ragnow is going to be the pick for the Dolphins, and I think he would be great here. You could also even play him at guard. I mean, he has flexibility. It's just whatever you want to do. So the Buffalo Bills are probably the biggest loser of this draft. Obviously losing Josh Allen. I don't think they're losing too much else. I guess Teron Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds. Okay, they're losing, yeah, a couple other decent players, but obviously the big one is Josh Allen. So to replace him, we're gonna go no, I'm kidding. Ooh, Luke Falk. I loved Luke Falk. Dude, I'm a Washington State fan. I don't know how Luke Falk didn't work out. He was pretty good. Either way, though, we're gonna go Baker Mayfield. He has been a decent NFL quarterback to a pretty damn good NFL quarterback at times. He's just been on kind of rough teams. I mean, this year the Panthers, one of the worst coached organizations. He's been on the Browns, like everybody knows is kind of like the joke NFL franchise other than maybe like the Jets or something. To go to an actual well-run organization with a good team around him, with a good coach, I think would have been good for Baker, for sure. Because, I mean, if you can look good on the Browns, you can look good on a good team, you know what I'm saying? Sure, he has had some ups and downs, but I think it would be a lot more ups here, so we're gonna give him to the Bills to replace Josh Allen. And I mean, look what they did with Josh Allen. Josh Allen used to be awful. His accuracy, his decision making, all that kind of stuff used to be horrible. He was just a fast, good runner with like the strongest arm of all time, and they turned him into an amazing player. I don't think Baker could clearly hit that upside. Like, Josh Allen is just the most gifted quarterback of all time by like a large margin, but Baker going here could be a great player as well. For the Washington Commies, they're not losing too much from this draft. They're only losing Deron Payne, and they already have some other defensive tackles here, obviously. Jonathan Allen. Oh yeah, I guess they don't have the guy who went to the Bills anymore that I really liked. I can't remember his name right now. But still, they already have Jonathan Allen as a defensive tackle. They can find another DT2. I think we are finally going to go with Darius Leonard. He has fallen a bit more than most people would have. I'm just not as big of a Darius Leonard fan as most people. I think he is very good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the best linebacker in the NFL. I do think he's top 5, clearly. And I just think linebacker's not that valuable of a position. I mean, look at the Super Bowl team last year. They were rocking with Ernest Jones, and that's like it. And even then, Ernest Jones is not really a good player. He just played a little better for the playoff. But finally, we're gonna go Darius Leonard. The Commanders have had horrible linebacker play, so we're gonna try to fix that at least a little bit with Darius Leonard. For the Packers, I mean, you're losing Jair Alexander, but I'm not even gonna think like twice about this. We're going DJ Moore. Receiver has been such a problem for them outside of obviously Devontae Adams, and now they're losing Devontae Adams, so this year it's been rough for them. I mean, their only other guy last year was Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and now he's gone too. So yeah, DJ Moore is the pick. We're not gonna think too much about this one. That one's pretty apparent. For the Arizona Cardinals, we are going to go Harold Landry. I feel like he's been a very underrated player. I think he had like a ton of pressures last year. Obviously, tore his Achilles this year, ACL something, in the preseason, or maybe even before the preseason, unfortunately. But when healthy, is a very good pass rusher. I feel like you really need one. You have Marcus Golden. I guess Devon Kennard isn't bad, but you're losing Dennis Gardeck, who's been decent for them this year, honestly. So Harold Landry is better than any player they have there immediately. So that feels like a decent pick for sure. Now, Baltimore, they are in a tough situation after losing Lamar Jackson, because unlike the rest of these teams that lost a quarterback, there just isn't really anyone worth taking at all here. I mean, you could go Sam Darnold. You could make the argument that, hey, if they took one of these guys, they would have worked out here. I could honestly do that now that I think about that. Nah, they have Tyler Huntley. They have a good enough backup. He manages the offense in a similar way to Lamar Jackson. He's clearly not Lamar Jackson, but he kind of does the same things, just not as well. You know what? Since it's the Ravens and they like to run a lot, I'm gonna give them Nick Chubb. He's probably the best player in the class, ignoring positional value. I mean, if you want to go positional value, clearly Josh Allen, but ignoring positional value, just how good they are at the position they play. Nick Chubb, I mean, is the best by like quite a bit. He's been the best running back in the NFL this year. I've always kind of thought he was the best running back in the NFL, just had to split carries with Kareem Hunt. He still does, but this year he is so good that it just doesn't really matter, and he is just purely the best. So Nick Chubb is going to be the pick for the Ravens. You could also go like Roquan Smith. You could go, I guess, Carlton Davis or DJ Reed, because they've had corner problems. You could go with the safety. Maybe we should have gone with the safety. Nah, their safeties are fine. We're fine. I feel weird for having Jesse Bates and Minkah Fitzpatrick and Derwin James fall so far, but these teams have all lost so much that they like need to replace those positions. Like, you wouldn't take a safety for the Cardinals with Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson. I guess you would maybe take one for the Packers, but receiver is so much more of a need for them. Maybe one for the Commanders. I guess you could make the argument there, but Darius Leonard is also a very good player. Like, I get maybe these players should have gone already, but I just haven't found a good landing spot. Now here is our first good landing spot. We're gonna give Derwin James back to the Chargers, because obviously if they don't take him, they're losing Derwin James, probably the best safety in the NFL. So it's kind of a no-brainer for that one, at least. I'm sure they lose something else, but yeah, no, we're going Derwin James. For the Seattle Seahawks, my favorite team, sadly, their run defense has been one of the worst things I have ever seen in my entire life. We're gonna go Daron Payne, and I'm not gonna think twice about it. Even though they have like Mike Jackson, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant starting, their pass defense hasn't been that bad. It's been the run defense that's been killing them, which is weird considering they have Poona Ford, Al Woods, Quentin Jefferson, like not bad players. I would guess it's just the edges and the linebackers. I mean, Darrell Taylor and Uchenna Nwosu are kind of smaller guys. Jordan Brooks is a good I mean, I don't know. It's not a fun time to be a Seahawks fan. It hasn't been in like 6 years. They've just been the most frustrating team ever to watch. If you have openings for team fandom, let me know, because this team just isn't fun to watch. For the Dallas Cowboys, they would be losing Michael Gallup here, and the receivers are already shaky as is with CeeDee Lamb, and that's really it. And even then, CeeDee Lamb has been kind of this year. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was way overhyped going into the season. He's kind of been that. I was kind of right. So here, I guess we'll go Calvin Ridley. I mean, we could make the argument that I guess he bet on the Falcons, you know what I'm saying? He didn't bet on the Cowboys. Maybe it wouldn't be the same situation here. Maybe he wouldn't bet on on the team and then like sit out a year for like mental health issues or something. I don't know. Maybe the Falcons just made him depressed. The Cowboys wouldn't. I have no idea. I don't want to joke about that shit, but like maybe that just wouldn't happen here. I don't know. Because when Calvin Ridley played, it looked like he was gonna be the second coming of Christ or something. He looked amazing. So we're gonna give him to Dallas. Unfortunately, no more Michael Gallup for them, but Michael Gallup's hurt anyways. So we're just gonna be kind of upgrading there. For the Detroit Lions, we are going to go, oh god, if I can find him, Will Clapp. Now I want to take Will Clapp, but I'm not gonna. Oh, Cody O'Connell, that's funny. I have a signed card of him. That's interesting. Maybe he's not here. Oh no, there he is, Wyatt Teller. We're gonna go Wyatt Teller. They're losing, obviously, Frank Ragnow. Their interior isn't the best. I mean, I like Jonah Jackson, Hal Vita, I'm not the biggest fan of, but yeah, this will just make that interior stronger and make this probably the best offensive line in the league, with obviously Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell. Well, I guess you're kind of one-for-one swapping Ragnow for Teller, but still, he's probably the best player available at this point. For the Bengals, we're gonna let them keep Jesse Bates. Now, obviously, you probably could go with an offensive lineman, and you probably should, but Jesse Bates is a very good player. He's already on the team. You might as well just go with him. You know what I mean? You know the Bills aren't actually gonna make this... Wow, that was a bad sentence. The Bills aren't gonna make it out of this too bad, actually. Here we're gonna go Roquan Smith. A bit of a fall for him, for sure. Again, just kind of the situation where I haven't really found a spot for him that makes sense. I mean, all these teams have had a bigger need or just a better player at that spot. So here we're going Roquan Smith to the Buffalo Bills. Bro, this is unrelated to this whole draft and everything, but I just wanted to take a second to say that there are some stupid people that watch football. I saw a post saying how bad Justin Fields has been, like all the turnover-worthy plays and how he just hasn't really even done anything to help the team at all. And the top comment was, yet they're it was like, but they're 2-1, lol, or something like that. I was like, what does that have to do with Justin Fields? I feel like people forget that football is a team sport. I mean, sure, quarterback is the most valuable position, but we've seen guys like Eli Manning win 2 Super Bowls or whatever. We've seen guys like Joe Flacco win a Super Bowl, Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. Like, having a good quarterback does not directly relate to wins, and I feel like people don't understand that. Sure, it helps, and it's the most valuable position, but team wins is not a quarterback stat. It's a team stat for a reason. There's a reason people say Tom Brady's overrated, and I agree. Sure, he's won a million Super Bowls, but that was with a great coach and a great team around him. I'm not saying Tom Brady's bad at all, but I am saying Super Bowls, wins, all that stuff aren't directly a quarterback stat. I mean, I still think Tom Brady's the best quarterback ever, arguably, but I think the Super Bowls are all somewhat meaningless, not completely meaningless, but they don't play into that for me. And the whole thing about the Bears being 2-1, the Bears played the 49ers, a run-first team, in a monsoon, and they beat the Texans. Those are their 2 wins, the handicapped 49ers and the Texans. Some people, I feel like, were born without a brain, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, speaking of Thomas Brady, here we have the Patriots pick. So in this draft, it looks like they're losing Isaiah Wynn, Juwan Bentley, and is that really it? I mean, I don't really see anything else. Yeah, I think that's it. So we can almost just go BPA here for the Patriots. Ooh, you know what I would think? This would be really fun. Hold on. If he's here, if he's not here, I'll go someone else, but if he is, Juwan Bentley is still here. I could go with him. Damn, I don't think he's here. I was gonna go Alexander Johnson, the linebacker, formerly of the Broncos, who is somehow a free agent, just sitting unsigned. He would be such a good fit for the Patriots. He could be one of the best linebackers in the NFL right now, I'm convinced, if he was on the Patriots. He's a fantastic run defender, and I mean, that's mostly what the Patriots look for, just good run defending, bigger pass rushers linebackers with pass rush ability. So he would have been a great fit. You can key that in here if you want to, but I'll just go Colton Miller. I mean, you're going to be losing Isaiah Wynn, play him at left tackle, move Trent Brown back to right. I think that would work out well. This is actually a stacked class. Good lord, I still have players like Minka, Justin Reed, Carlton Davis, DJ Reed, Roquan Smith, Alexander Johnson, like I was saying, who I'm going to draft. I don't care that he's unsigned right now. I think he's a stud. Falaronsu Fadukasi, Marcus Davenport, John Franklin Myers, Josh Sweat, James Daniels, Connor Williams, Jordan Mailata, Orlando Brown, Dallas Goddard, Mike Gesicki, Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk, Saquon Barkley. Like, those players players are still on the board here, and we're getting towards the end of the first. The Panthers, they lose like their entire team. They lose DJ Moore, Bradley Bozeman, who's a backup to Pat Elflein for some reason, Austin Corbett, Ian Thomas, Baker Mayfield, Marquise Haynes, I believe, Frankie Louvu, Dante Jackson. Like, they lose almost everybody. So I guess they're kind of forced to go receiver, or are they? I don't know. I kind of like this group of Robbie Anderson, Shai Smith, Laviska Shenault, Terrace Marshall, Richard. They're fine at receiver, honestly. I think any of those players could step in and break out. I especially like Terrace Marshall. I love Laviska Shenault coming out. If I were them, I would stick with that receiving core. You don't have a stud yet, but you have potential studs. You know what I'm gonna do? I am gonna go, finally, Minkah Fitzpatrick. I know they have good safeties, but you could play him at nickel corner, and then, assuming you don't re-sign Xavier Woods, you could just move him up to free safety and have like an amazing safety duo with Jeremy Chin, Minkah Fitzpatrick. It does leave you with holes on the offensive line, but I think it's worth it, to be honest. Minkah's a really good football player, clearly. So the Titans are in a great spot because I don't think they lose anything from this draft. Am I wrong? I mean, maybe some depth players here that I just don't remember which draft they were taken in, but I don't think they lose anything. Maybe like Andrew Adams, or no, he was like 2015 or something. So I'm between two with the Titans. I'm either gonna go Cortland Sutton, or I could go Christian Kirk, but mostly Cortland Sutton. Ooh, I could go Orlando Brown. He would be a great scheme fit for the Titans. But he doesn't like playing right tackle, and that's where he would play, because he's like the most money-hungry football player I've ever seen. And you could also go like Carlton Davis, but I don't know, their cornerback room is young. They still have room to grow. Let's go Cortland Sutton. I mean, their receivers are kind of shaky right now. You have Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, and now him. You kind of have like your Deebo Samuel type in Treylon Burks. You have your more, I guess, good at everything, good route runner in Robert Woods. And then you have more of your possession receiver, but also a good route runner, just good at a lot of stuff in Cortland Sutton. So that's a very nice looking receiving group now. And you don't even really lose much from this class, so that's just an immediate upgrade. Okay, we need to go Roquan Smith at some point. I feel like people are gonna murder me for still having him on the board. Or wait, I lied. He's off the board. Never mind. For the Atlanta Falcons, they have a pretty big need at safety. I mean, they have a need at a lot of positions, clearly. But again, the bright side of this is they don't really lose much from this class. Actually, I don't know. This is a tough one. They have a need everywhere. I mean, you could go receiver. You could go offensive line. You could even go running back. I mean, Cordell Patterson is good. Plus, yeah, ignore that one. Running back, they're good. You could go interior defensive line. You could go edge. You could go middle linebacker. You're losing Rashaan Evans. Corner, you're probably good. You could use a nickel, but you have way bigger needs than that. Safety, they're pretty weak at, so I kind of want to go safety. Yeah, let's go Justin Reed. Very good, very underrated safety. I thought he was the best safety in the class, to be honest, or one of. That was a very good safety class, by the way. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, Justin Reed, Jesse Bates. Like, that was a stacked group. Oh, Kaiser White before he moved to linebacker. That's funny. You got White Lightning in there. Godwin Igwebuike before he moved to running back. I don't know. This is a really interesting Foye Oluokun before he moved to linebacker as well. A lot of these safeties moved positions. Marcel Harris? That's really weird. Trey Flowers moved to corner. Ooh, Tracy Walker down here. Like, this is a really interesting group. Marcus Allen moved to linebacker. Terrell Edmonds should move to linebacker. I'm sorry. Who does it say is the best player? Oh, Saquon. Okay, yeah. The top 4 players are still on the board. Saquon Barkley, Bradley Chubb, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. That's interesting. 1 or 2 of those should probably be gone by now, but I don't know. For the New Orleans Saints, this one's fairly easy to me, I guess. I mean, if I can find him, actually. Hold on. We're gonna go Marcus Davenport. I mean, he's really the only thing they lose. They lose him and I think Traquan Smith, but they're good at receiver other than him, which that's a really good receiving core, by the way, which is crazy considering how bad it has been. But yeah, you lose Traquan Smith and Marcus Davenport, and I think that's really it. I don't think anyone else here was in that class. Maybe some depth players again, but like, yeah, you're good. Also, I'm really immature. Every time I see sus for suspended, you already know where my mind goes. But yeah, Marcus Davenport has been a very nice complementary piece to Jordan Cameron. You could make the argument that they're good there without him, but I don't really trust that group yet. I mean, you have Carl Granderson, who I like a lot, Tano Passanio, who I also like a lot, and then Peyton Turner, who was a first-round draft pick, which I didn't really get that one. I thought he was more like a 3rd or 4th round player. but they must have seen something. Well, I know what they saw in him. He's similar to Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport. He's their type as a pass rusher. All these players kind of fill that type of just a little bit bigger defensive end. So Marcus Davenport is the pick. It's always kind of fun when teams end up picking the same players in my redrafts. It's like, here you go, you made the right choice. Oh god, dude. The poor Steelers. They lose the entire right side of their offensive line. Mason Cole, James Daniels, and Chukwuma Okorafor, and you lose both safeties, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Terrell Edmonds. I almost said AJ Terrell. I am so tired. So there isn't really a good situation out of this, but I guess let's go. God, I don't know. There's no real right answer here. Let's go Brian O'Neill. Get a good right tackle in there. You need something. You can't rock with, well, Jesse Davis and JC. You know, wait, they actually have solid backups at those positions. I like JC Hassenauer. He looked amazing in the AAF or whatever he was in. XFL, I don't remember. I think it was the AAF. Jesse Davis has started before. He's not good, but he's started at least. And Kendrick Green has also started at guard, or he started at center where he wasn't very good, but he's more of a guard. So I think they're actually fine there, but you might as well upgrade over Jesse Davis, who I feel like would be the weak link of that offensive line. You could also go like Deshaun Elliott, Tracy Walker, one of the Lions safeties. But no, I feel like Brian O'Neill's better than those two. So Brian O'Neill is the pick for Pittsburgh. And honestly, I could kind of see him there for some reason. I don't know why. The Jaguars actually lose a bit from this draft class too. I didn't even really realize that. They're going to be losing Christian Kirk. Do they lose Evan Ingram? Was he in this class or was he 2017? No, I think he was 17. Was he? I don't know. Foley Farukasi, Foye Oluokun, all the hard names, and Darius Williams, who hasn't been very good there. I didn't know why they signed him. I thought he was a good corner. I don't know why the hell they're playing him in the slot. Well, I guess because he's 5'9", but he's not a good slot corner despite being 5'9". He's much better on the outside. I hate that they play him there. But I guess let's just go with the best player that they're going to be losing in Christian Kirk. He's been pretty good for them, honestly. The massive contract that they gave him, I didn't think was that bad, to be honest. I mean, it was a bit questionable to pay him that much, but you gotta pay him that much to come there, because nobody really wants to go to Jacksonville unless they're being paid a ton of money. And I felt like the Cardinals were using him wrong. He was much more of a like slot type of guy, and clearly the Jags realized that, and he's been pretty amazing. Well, not amazing, but like he's been really solid so far. I'm not gonna say he was necessarily worth it, but he wasn't not worth it. He's a good receiver for sure. So the Minnesota Vikings, obviously they're going to be losing Brian O'Neill. I don't think they lose too much outside of that though. Harrison Phillips and I think Chandon Sullivan, and that's it. So let's give them... Oh god, he might not. Oh, he is. Okay, Jordan Mailata. I was worried he wasn't going to be here, but he's been a very good left tackle for the Eagles. I don't know which of their tackles they would play at left, Darisaw or Mailata, but either way, immediate upgrade, and they don't actually lose too much from going from Brian O'Neill to Jordan Mailata. They're on a similar skill level. I'm not doing this one because it's necessarily the best option, but I just think it's the most fun. Ooh, Hercules Matafa, I was a big fan of him. I'm gonna give the Patriots John Franklin Myers. He would be an amazing scheme fit for them as kind of like that big-bodied defensive end type of player, almost Trey Flowers type of player. The other Trey Flowers, not the corner. Kind of like a rotational defensive end, defensive tackle based on whether they're running like 3-4 or 4-3. Like, he would be an amazing scheme fit there. Now, if you were going necessarily more smart, you might go Carlton Davis because their corners aren't looking great. You have Jonathan Jones as the one, Jalen Mills, Miles Bryant. That's not a terrible corner room, but it's one of the weaker in the NFL for sure. But I just think John Franklin Myers is more fun. Wow, the Eagles get pretty screwed from this class. They're going to be losing Jordan Mailata, Dallas Goddard, Josh Sweat, Kaiser White, and Avonte Maddox, and probably some other player that I'm just missing. Was Andre Dillon? No, he was 2019. Yeah, you're losing a little bit here. I guess guess at this point you almost just go BPA because you're losing so much. Do you just go Dallas Goddard, Saquon Barkley? No, you can't go with Barkley. You're losing too much. You know, honestly, they'll be fine without Jordan Mailata. We're not going to go lineman. They have Andre Dillard. If he got a chance to start, I feel like he would be good. Yeah, let's just go Dallas Goddard. The reason being is because their depth at tight end isn't great. Well, I like Jack Stoll. I like Grant Calcaterra. I even like Tyree Jackson. I liked him more as a QB, to be fair. But they're just not proven. I feel like you go with the proven player rather than players that you think could be good, at least in this situation. Like I said, you wouldn't really need to replace tackle because, you know, Andre Dillard was a first-round pick at one point. Josh Sweat, you have, oh, I guess they don't have Derek Barnett anymore. Is he just a free agent? No, he's not. Wait, is he injured? Yeah, okay, never mind, he's injured. I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, you have Derek Barnett there. He isn't great, but he's not so bad that you need to replace him immediately over other positions. With Kaiser White, you have Nakobe Dean. I wasn't the biggest fan of him in the draft, but he could definitely step in. And with Avonte Maddox, you could maybe put one of the corners there, but it's nickel corner. It's Dallas Goddard is definitely the pick. But that is all for today's video. Again, if you enjoyed, just like, sub, turn on notifications, and let me know which which draft to redraft next. Plus, you know, imagine if everyone liked and subscribed. That is watching this video. We would be at like 1,000 subscribers in no time, so be sure to do that. But that is all for me. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you guys again in the next video. Goodbye.